to the gods, rock and roll.
Venom are a metal band from Newcastle upon Tyne in England, way up in the northeast. They were formed in 1978 as part of, and were part of, the NWOBHM, which stands for the New Wave of British Heavy Metal, which is just one of the most clunky algorithms and acronyms, whatever the word is, ever. Anyway, they have a more or less been continuously active since then with a couple of breaks. Only one of the founder members is currently still in the band, and he hasn't always been. He goes by the stage name of Kronos. They have, however, released 15 studio albums. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of Black Metal by Venom, which was their second studio album, and is my first time encountering them, and therefore my first time listening to this album. Despite the album name, I don't think I would classify this as being black metal, but I understand that it was very influential in the creation of the genre, which is now labelled as black metal, which kind of started, I understand, in Norway in particular. So I would describe this as maybe being garage metal, although speed metal has been applied. Garage, because I'll talk about the lo-fi nature of the recording in a minute. It's probably closest to, in my head, to Motorhead, to any other band that I've heard. Musically, it's quite simple. There's lots of very overdriven guitar, quite thrashy. Definitely the guitar is the co-lead here with the vocals. There is fairly frantic drumming and almost inaudible bass. I guess sometimes it's harder to pick out the bass when they do the metal thing, which they do a lot, which is where the bass and the guitar follow basically the same line, although simpler for the bass usually. It's not that technical. It's also not that tight either. So it's quite loose in its playing, and it's quite badly recorded, or cheaply recorded, or quickly recorded, or deliberately lo-fi recorded. Now, apparently it was recorded in Wallsend. I'm just going to say Wallsend, which is not very far from where I'm actually recording this. I'm on the other side of Newcastle from that. The actual recording is strangely quiet, in that it could have been, the volume could have been higher in the recording. And that could just be the copy that I've listened to on the stream that I've had, and lacking in crispness. So it has a kind of, it's not very mushy, but it doesn't spark. And it's got an unproduced immediacy to it. So in some ways, in that way, it has kind of harks through to punk, which was where, in 1982. Yeah, punk's been around for a while by now. The vocals, so I found the style of vocals quite interesting, because they're harsh, but not growly. They're very harsh and gravelly, just very grrr and shouty, but they're not what I would think of as being black metal, which I think possibly this is the largest reason I would say it's not black metal, is because it's not, and you can understand almost all the words, or I can. There are some great bits of expression in the vocals. He's obviously quite into it as a singer. He'll sing a line and then go, yeah. It's just, yeah, you're really kind of feeling this, aren't you? The themes of the lyrics. So there was a certain amount of controversy over their lyrics. That almost all of the songs are in some way connected with demonic mythology, so referencing Satan, Lucifer, and particularly Baphomet here, and it's all kind of war in heaven kind of stuff. Now, so I will give you this as a warning. If this is something that will not go down well with you, stay very clear with this album. They claim that that this focus of the lyrics is mostly for shock value. And I wonder what that mostly implies in some ways. But I would say my impression of it is that it bears about as much relation to what little I know of real Satanism as Harry Potter does to Wicca. It's a very kind of mythologized version of this. It's about horror story level, and they equate it to horror films. And they say you don't expect that people who are writing horror films or acting in horror films are people who actually live these lives. And why would you expect us to be people who live these lives just because we sing about it? Um, I want to pull out a couple of tracks here. There's a track "Sacrifice," which is possibly the one that I found in these terms the most distasteful, being about human sacrifice. Most of the rest of them I didn't hugely have a problem with. Teacher's Pet is not about this sort of thing, but it's about a relationship between a pupil and a teacher, and also has a similar kind of vague misogyny to it as Sacrifice does. It's a little bit kind of, well, I think there's a line in the Sacrifice about bring the wench, I'm going to kill her, or something close to that. So uh, yeah, maybe not great in its messages. Overall, I found it uh, somewhat intriguing, but quite kind of kitsch and cheap in its ways, the ways it goes about trying to get a reaction. Apparently, it's been hugely influential. I suspect that that's, well, from what I read, that's supposed to be more stylistic than anything else, although there have been cover versions of some of these songs around, apparently. So, very well thought of, but not so much by me, I don't think, I have to say. There are areas of metal that I like, but they tend to be more technically competent and more nuanced than this, I think is the right phrase. So if you like your metal full on and kind of on the nose, maybe this is for you. But also take into account what I've said about the content. So that's what I think. As always, I'd love to ask you what you think. So here I go. What do you think? Could you let me know, please, by leaving me a comment? And that's it from me for now.
Teacher, God, we must way down underneath.